I don't really have a lot of time today. I experienced a tragedy this morning. But God, He still prompted me to be here amongst you guys because I am a servant spirit, and I do believe in giving back and lifting up people at all walks of life. Don't matter where you come from, where you've been, where you're going, because I've been in a lot of places, just like you, brother. I have a story to tell. But what I've learned to do over my time working at a law firm, I started to get into what's called trust. And if you aren't familiar with a trust, basically a trust is someone known as a grantor. They are entrusting what's called a trustee. Trust property. It could be real estate. It could be your watch. It could be your car. They're trusting a trustee, somebody to manage it for the benefit of someone else. I.e., say you have your grandfather. He has a home. He puts that home into a private trust, which he makes someone a trustee. And as that trustee is instructed by a written agreement to preserve that property, maintain the taxes for you as a beneficiary. You being a beneficiary, so you would benefit in the event that trust, your grandfather passes away, it passes on to you through this trust. So I took it upon myself to work with people who makes money to protect their assets. Yeah. Meaning that if you have income, the government takes a big chunk of the taxes, out of your check. Well, if you guys are able to set trust up, it's a way to minimize those tax disadvantages, them taking the taxes out. So what I'd like to do as we start working together is to show you guys how to set up and manage trust relationship. I'm not going to get into too much of it because it's a little late. We got started late. Yeah. But I'll be working with these guys because I really do believe in what you guys are doing, and I'm so proud of that. But I would love to sit down and share and show you guys how to actually set up a trust, how to maintain a trust, and how to protect your assets.
And I work in the mortgage industry, and that is so true, and I never know. I make calls all day, like helping people saving for foreclosure, bankruptcy, loss mitigation. Yeah. And a lot of them now, not back in the day when I started, you wouldn't see homes in a trust. But now more and more, like I see one every day, it's the trust of.
Oh yeah.
Now I know why.
Yeah, it's very, very, very powerful. It's a powerful tool for asset protection and tax savings. I can teach people how to use a trust and set up a trust within a trust. Because there's two types of trust that Miami people set up. One is going to be revocable trust or a living trust. Another one would be called irrevocable trust. And those are the primary trust vehicles that people use. There are several others that you can use. And but what these vehicles allow you to do is to place assets into it and out of your name. Because John Rockefeller, he's a millionaire from the 1900s. They own banking. They're in banking. And one of the things that he said, and they stand on this principle, was to own nothing but control everything. Right. So if I was rolling down in a Rolls Royce and I pulled up in the Rolls Royce, you would assume it's mine. Because I'm driving it, right? I got the keys. That doesn't necessarily mean that I own that. And that's what a trust can allow you guys to do, is to actually control something and not own it, which would keep it out of the process. Say you have some creditors, someone wanted to sue you, or of course the IRS. So what I'll be doing going forward as we put things together is to teach you guys how to set your own trust and actually assist you guys in setting it up and managing it, and teach you how to select the proper trustees for it, what that means and why. And just to help you guys as you earn these money through these policies, and whether you're working or own businesses, how to keep the majority of your money. So, anybody got any questions right now?
All right.
Go ahead, John.
You got a business card?
Yeah. I'll make sure I give you my contact information.
I got
Go ahead.
I got 3 rent houses
Okay.
in Louisiana.
Okay.
I got them in my mama's name, but I need to put them in a trust.
Absolutely. What you would do in that case is you would transfer the deed to the homes out of your mother's name into the trust. Once you set your trust up.
Okay.
And then I'll show you how to do what's called a conveyance or a transfer on paper.
Okay.
So you own them outright?
Yeah.
Okay, good. And again, once we do that, I'll also show you how to save on the property taxes of it.
You just
So,
go to the county to get the deed, to get it to the deed.
you'll have to do a transfer of the deed. So, yeah. But when you're transferring real property or homes, that trust has to be in writing. If you have personal property, you don't necessarily have to put it in writing. So, just to let you guys know, if you are transferring homes, you would want to put those homes through a deed of a trust deed, transfer it that way. Any other? Oh, go ahead, man.
Yeah,
Oh, wait.
oh,
Stacy, had a question?
no, I was gonna say, in the event that you have a mortgage
Mm-hmm.
on your property,
Mm-hmm.
how can you transfer the debt?
Well, what you would do with your lender is make sure that they're not gonna do a due on sale clause, meaning that you have to pay the whole thing. A lot of mortgages, because this is it's becoming more popular, are allowing you to redeed the property into the trust. It ain't gonna change, it's not gonna take away your mortgage, but it'll transfer the ownership of it into the trust. So you can't do that. I actually did that with my mother's home.
Awesome. So we literally just had a meeting with someone about doing a business trust.
Okay.
And then with our business trust, having a beneficiary trust attached to that. Is that what
Okay.
you?
Yeah, I can do that as well.
We're thinking like
Yeah. Set up a
different
business
type of
trust where you, well, setting up a business trust is a little different than a private trust.
Cause that's what I'm looking
Because
for.
you're actually going to be operating out of it.
Right.
And you, with a business trust, you avoid what they have now, that Corporate Transparency Act.
Mhm.
Is that what y'all trying to?
Well,
Okay.
it's just learning how to protect the assets, how to, understand the tax advantages, how to, like you said, control everything but own nothing.
Sure.
And there's just so many different ways that you can put your vehicles, that you can put your money, that you can attach your LLC to it. There's so many different ways and avenues that you can strategize with these trusts and with the policy. Because when you advance and you start making the type of money that you're able to make in this industry, and you start reinvesting it into properties or putting it into the stock market, you want to just make sure that everything is protected, because the trust is you're going to avoid probate. That avoids probate. So, when you pass away, your family doesn't have to wait 6-7 years because it's avoiding the court system. Everything's already designated in that trust with proper instructions, and they can't access that because it's protected.
And she's right about that. And the law actually will follow the trust agreement before the statutes and codes, the laws.
Yeah.
See, trust it's one of the highest laws in the land. It is the highest, along with contract law. That's a constitutionally protected right that you have. So the only time they will try to pierce your trust is if your trustee is doing something nefarious or creating fraud or doing something that illegal with the trust.
Right.
But a business trust is more complex.
It is.
And I heard you say something that was a buzzword to me, because you understand about a business trust having another trust inside of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Multiple trusts, and that's what you actually would want to do, because the objective of avoiding taxes, and there's a difference between avoiding taxes and evading taxes. You can legally avoid paying taxes.
Correct.
It's in the IRS manual. It's a lot of ways to do it, and trust being one. Now, if you are evading taxes, you will go to prison.
Yeah.
So the difference of knowing the difference of using multiple trusts within one another is to teach you how to move money into the trust without creating a taxable event.
Because you can like sell your home and then put the money back and you can owe the trust and the trust can pay.
Yeah.
It's such cool information. I'm obsessed with learning
So,
and soaking it up.
What you would actually do, why you would have another trust inside of the business trust, because one trust that you'll have, it has no assets. It's
Correct.
strictly a holding trust. And what your business trust will actually do is place money in the holding trust and turn around and borrow money from it, kind of like the insurance policy. Yeah, you're basically borrowing money from yourself. That's what Donald Trump does. Y'all might not be a fan of him, but I actually have his trust structure in my briefcase, and I said, and that's how he owns helicopters. That's how he owns airplanes and boats and yachts. I charge you $0.
How about a friends and family?
Oh, for that's nothing.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
So I heard that you can do a business trust and then do a family trust and then do a nonprofit trust, and if you trickle your funds from one to the other at the end, then you really don't have no taxes at all.
It depends. Yeah, you don't with a nonprofit, but with a nonprofit, and you're talking about a church.
Like church.
It depends on how you designate that church. There's two ways to do it. You familiar with a 501c3? Are you familiar with a 508c1a?
Heard them, but I don't know what it is.
Okay, well, a 501c3 is a nonprofit, and you do get all the benefit and protection of that as a nonprofit. But as a church, you can designate your nonprofit as a church under the 508c1a designation, and you don't have to show the IRS anything. You don't have to show them nothing. They'll never see anything. They never know who your members are. And I'm in the process of setting that up. I'm in the process of setting one up myself.
We already got one. But as a nonprofit, the 501h, whatever.
508?
Yeah. As a nonprofit, it doesn't have to quote be a church. It can just be a nonprofit type organization, or it has to be a church.
A church or an auxiliary of a church. You know, you can say what's your name? Yeah, or outreach. Yeah, you can say outreach. You know, or community. It does it does not have to be a building or like you customarily would consider the church.
Is that because the church is separate from state? Is that why?
My man.
Rainbow.
That's right.
Okay. So Sean, we're gonna start a church, Pastor.
Yeah.
I'm in the process of doing more myself.
Yeah, I'll be your head deacon.
Yeah.
I'll bring you water and everything.
You got to Stacy out. Plastic ones.
Yes, sir.
We can spray paint the bottom red.
Huh?
Yeah.
I can't hear you, brother.
How much is it to start a church?
How much is it to start a church? You basically a trust. Well, to start a trust simply is paperwork. Yeah, setting up your trust indenture or your trust agreement, and doing your certificates of trust. And then there's things you will want to do if you want to open a bank account. You know, that's what I actually do for people, and I start off with a simple trust, about $500. A lawyer will charge you $5,000 to start.
$25,000.
How you borrow instantly. Well, what you would have to have is a separate trust inside of it, or something, a holding trust. Okay, and then it's just basically for asset management. And then you would actually have a trust where there's actually, you're doing business out of. Like they were talking about a business trust, where you set it up just like, I hear people say this all the time, and I cringe, they set up an LLC. And most of the time when they say a LLC, they're setting up an LLC as the only member of it.
Yep.
You have no protection or no real tax
I
advantage.
just learned that, not today, maybe last week, to start it off as an S corp. Then you structure your LLCs under the S
Well,
corp.
here's one for you. With a business trust, you have 3 different designations that you can tax under. You can tax it under a C, you can tax it under a pass-through, a S, or you can tax it under a regular sole proprietor. So, yeah.
We gonna be eligible.
Yeah, so you can choose which tax structure that you want.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So the key to avoiding taxes is to let the trust do everything, because the trust is like another person. It's like you had a baby,
Yep.
and that baby has its own social security number. They have their own identity. The business trust
Like
is
an
the same.
EIN, like I said, you're gonna.
Yes, you. That's why I said you'll get an EIN for your trust. Yeah, through the same process, which is an SS4 that you'll fill out, and you'll put your trust, because that's one of the designation boxes that you can check, and you can ask. They're gonna ask you why, and you say for banking purposes. And you will do that and create your trust certificate and take that down to the bank. You never have to let them know who your beneficiaries are.
Okay.
Go ahead, brother.
So is it also true that before you start any trust, you have to make sure you don't owe any back taxes?
No, that's not true.
Okay.
Yeah,
No,
that's
so
not
you're
true.
gonna be separate from the trust.
Yeah.
So you don't own nothing, the trust owns it. Even though you do own it,
What if you owe
on
child
paper
support?
legally, you don't own it.
It doesn't have anything.
But
to
the
do
trust
with
that you
that.
own it, so you don't have to pay.
Yeah. But see, that's a whole nother
What you
world
asked,
That's
that
why I
I
was
can
asking.
show you how to mitigate that.
A lot of people are going through that.
Oh, really?
Not here, but I'm just saying I know a lot of people going through that.
She's basically she thinks that there's he was
Like if
asking-
somebody owes child support, like say they're 50,000 behind in child support, with that.
That's why you want to have the trust, to keep those liens away from you, because you know what their lien is your social security number.
Correct.
If you can get away from using your social security number at all,
Okay.
the more par for course. The better you are, the more protected you are, because your social security number was never designed to do what it's being used for.
Amen.
So, yeah.
They try to keep tabs on us.
Oh yeah, it's a little bit more to it than
Oh,
that.
yeah, I'm just
So,
keeping it light. They
Yeah.
keep tabs on us.
Yeah, well, it's worth something.
Yeah.
So yeah,
That was my question.
yeah, that's worth something, and your birth certificate as well. I mean, that's another conversation.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
What day are you free next week?
Hold on, so
No,
then,
I want you to keep going.
I'm gonna get,
Hold on,
I'm giving Pastor
so
Baker.
that's actually true about what I think I done heard about
The bond or your birth
yeah.
certificate?
in your social.
Right.
Diplomatic, I know. She has a question. She has a question.
Okay, well, yeah, because you would like to own that, and there's a way you can.
Man, that's
Go ahead.
crazy.
Who had a question?
Young people, don't wait till you're 40 to do this.
Well, because they probably received some information, and I can clarify a lot of the things, and that's what I do study also.
Do you assist with that? Right.
Before we get sidetracked, sir,
Go ahead.
can we get your information?
Oh, yeah.
But we all be blowing your phone up.
That's all right. I will.
Your phone.
I'm getting ready to start doing some consultations this year, because I'm breaking away and moving into this full time, especially since he and I spoke. I think that I
Your
could be a,
purpose then.
that's basically what I'm looking to do, just be in my life purpose, you know.
Yeah, that's right.
Being able to make sure everybody, we don't have to live as slaves.
Right.
I think I said something.
Yeah,
We don't have to live as slaves.
That struck a nerve. Yes, sir.
Cigarette lighter.
You saying away from everybody?
Everybody, everybody. Yeah, it has nothing to do with what your
They make
color.
us think we
It
have
has
to-
something
They make
to
us think we
do.
have to get up and go to work every day, we have to work hard, and work for 30 years. And then you live off $1,200 a month, and you work 50, 60 years.
That's that slave mentality.
And that's why I said, the life insurance is one of the best vehicles that you can have. But, you know, you still need to protect your liability as well. And I'll be glad to assist as best as I can, because I study this stuff every day for the last 2 years. I'm sitting in here looking at the Texas property codes on trust right now. I have the whole thing read this religiously, but my purpose is to set up private trust, to show you how to do it without government interference.
Come on,
To maintain your privacy,
come on,
because you have private rights
come on.
that we voluntarily give up
You preaching now.
every day.
You preaching.
We've gotten into contracts unknowingly to
Come on.
yourself since you were born.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like I'm a shepherd to help us lead the way out of it. And yeah, I wanted to share that with you guys tonight. Just give you a little bit, but hopefully we can gather more.
Yes.
Hopefully we can find more opportunities to gather, and because I want to be able to put up slides and I want to be able to explain things to you. Oh, I'm working on it. You know, I want to tell you guys about the gold standard, how it was taken away, and the debt and all that, where it come from. This does have an origin. So being able to share all that with you and educate you guys and empower you guys to be able to do things like discharging debt, discharging IRS liens. I mean, I wouldn't advise you not to take care of your children, but the government child support, that's, you know, get away from that.
I don't owe child support.
Well,
I'm
no,
just saying.
you brought it up. You had mentioned it, so that's why I was referencing you, because you mentioned that. Yeah, so that, and again, taxes. Low to no pay taxes. Legally. All those things are possible. All those things are possible, and it does start with the trust. The first relationship in the world, in the history of the world, was between God and Adam.
That's right.
That's how long trust's been around.
Now you're trying to go deep now, right?
Hey, I do it because I love you guys and I want to see you succeed. You know, beautiful people.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
So yeah, this is my life mission. I mean, I hate it took me so long to get here.
You on the right time.
I'm doing well, protecting my family. You know,
Let's not forget,
Then we'll pay you.
Moses was 80 years old.
that's right. So yeah, we can spend some time, you know, talking about the history, or we can, you know, I would like for you to know why you're doing it, but to help you do it just for the purposes of asset protection and for you and your families, that'll be the primary thing. But I would love to share the history of it and all as well, and hopefully we'll create a forum or a school or something.
Would it be beneficial for somebody to set up a trust even if they don't have assets or things?
You do have an asset.
No, I'm just saying.
You are an asset.
You are.
You're an asset.
Well,
Because you know scratch
You wouldn't believe what your biggest asset is. It's your name,
That's it. All caps.
your signature.
Mm-hmm.
Every time you sign your signature, you actually creating the trust.
because I asked about trust a long time ago to people who use trust a lot, and I was told I didn't need one because I don't own anything.
That phone right there, is that yours? You own it?
It's my asset.
Is that right? Yeah. Yeah, it's your asset. I mean, it is technically, because theoretically, if you treasured that phone and you wanted to leave it to your niece,
Right.
yeah, but you want to put it in writing. I've experienced probate in the worst way when my father passed away.
My real best friend's going through that right now, but in a year, her grandmother died, left the house to her, and all these different.
The government will, what they will do is they will put a trustee on it, because a trust cannot fail for the lack of trustee. That's one of the rules of a trust. And what they'll do is they'll call all the creditors that they owe. Hey, y'all come and get it. Have you ever seen an animal die on the side of the road and a bunch of buzzards just flying around taking pieces of it?
Yeah.
That's what happens when your property goes through probate, when someone passes away. It happened with my dad. We got a settlement, and before we got to that settlement, oh man, it looked nothing like we thought it would. Because he owed so many people and he had so much debt. And that sticks in my mind, you know, when I started learning trust about it. Anybody else? Any questions? Any ideas? Oh, okay. So yeah, man, I
Definitely set up,
Yeah,
Can you
actually,
get a trust for
whenever
somebody
you
else?
bring it in,
Or he's not giving your name? Like,
Yeah.
like life insurance policy, you can get one on somebody else, or you can get it.
I mean, well, the trust, it basically boils down to the legal title, okay? Meaning that whoever the trustee is gonna have legal title, but it's for the beneficiary. So let's say you own a property, but you get him to be the grantor. It's what's called a testator. He's actually gonna be the one at your request to grant the trust, to put the trust into a trust. And the reason for that is because in a trust, you shouldn't be your own trustee. Reason why is because the trustee is the one that's charged with handling the assets of the trust. So if you had debt, personal debt, but you're the trustee of your trust, then they can come after you because you are the trustee. You see what I'm saying? So if you had a property, it's best for you to have someone else convey it to grant the trust, to create the trust. The trust creator, once they create an irrevocable trust, they're out of it.
And that's what you do, you create trust, you get like a license, or like with the state, or how does that work?
Well, you don't really need a license to create a trust. You have what's called a statutory trust, which you can go have a lawyer draw up for you, or you can keep your trust private. You can have a trust set up and nobody knows about it but you. Now you will take it and get it notarized, and what a notary will do will validate your trust.
I guess that was my question, like, if you were to set up a trust for me, and I don't know you, and no offense, but you know, you don't know somebody, you know, you trusted them to set up a trust for you, what do you have, like, the state, or have to go downtown and signature and stamp, like, to be able to know that I can trust my trust with you?
Well, here's the thing, I probably would have you find better options for a trustee, because the trustee has to set the role. But just to give you a brief breakdown of what it would be, a trust agreement is what you want it to be. What I normally do when I set up a trust for a client is I'll give them a questionnaire, and it'll start asking about their assets, who their beneficiaries are, how they want the trust to be distributed, and everything that we come up with on this questionnaire, I'll create a trust indenture or trust agreement based upon everything you said. It has nothing to do with me, it's your words. You are, and that's why it's called an express trust. And once we write down everything that you say, we'll get it notarized. Yeah. And once it's notarized, it's law.
How would you go to get it notarized?
We'll find a notary, just go to a notary. Because what you need is witnesses, at least 2 witnesses.
We got notaries.
You a notary?
Nurses?
Oh, wow, that's perfect. You probably one of the more valuable people in this.
I'm ready.
So, yeah.
Sign an agent, I'm ready.
Oh, good. So what you would need is 2 witnesses to prove that it's a trust. So if it ever got taken to court or anything, the court gonna look at the law and the statutes, and then they're gonna say, oh, there's a trust agreement. They're gonna follow that trust agreement first. So yeah, that's mainly what a trust is, or validating it is just having it notarized, and at least by 2 witnesses. And you just put it on paper, and you stamp it, and you make a copy.
File it with the county, or?
You don't have to
It's
file it with
private.
nobody.
But you can, if you want?
If you want it to be public.
You don't want it to be public.
I'm just asking.
Yeah, no, yeah, I mean, and that's up to you.
No, they private.
That's up to you. Now, a lawyer, if you were to get a lawyer to be a trustee,
In a discussion.
the lawyer, their first allegiance is not to you, the client, is to the bar, which is public, it's not private.
So we don't do a lawyer or something? But if it goes to somebody like you, it's completely confidential.
Or you can have a friend
Y'all be
or a distant family member. What you would want to have is at least 2, to set up a bank account, you need at least 2 trustees, or a trustee and what's called a successor trustee, meaning that means, no, successor trustee is saying that if the original trustee can't perform, there's a backup.
Right, yeah.
Hey man, we appreciate you, man. I know
Time to go Okay. spend.
Yes,
We're gonna get a group picture.
I'm sorry.
And we're gonna set up another one of these, probably a little bit earlier, you know?
Yeah, I gotta go check on my people, man.
Yeah.
Never got to get it.
Oh, did you? Oh, yeah. All right, babe. Hey.
You know what I'm saying? See, I started with land trust. That was a real estate
All right,
investment.
good.
Because I taught real estate investors instead of having LLC, put each individual property in a trust. So you got 1, 2, 3 main, 1, 2, 3 L.
You gotta be in it.
I'm allergic to land.
You're not listening. Like you be in here like a vampire brand and
Yeah, I know. She's
insisting.
I've been sitting there. It's
Yeah.
a family thing
All right,
around
group,
here.
babe.
Y'all will know we are like family. Y'all join. We trying to do the side, you know what I'm saying? Camera lead. All right. Where we taking the picture in the front? Oh, you gonna do the front? Y'all know I'm short. You know what? I'm gonna put the timer on mine. Hold on.
Oh, yeah, I think that, yeah.
Hold on. Let me see if I can get you. Maybe you can sit on top of it. Look here. Look.
That's gonna make us feel bigger than what we are.
Green, look. I'm working with what I got right now, okay? All right, everybody squeeze in just, you know, just a little bit more.
I got it.
We use this 2018 Android here.
Oh.
Yeah, with the remote. They got a remote? Yeah. That's old technology right here.
Okay.
iPhone is-
Press a little bit bigger.
It's a glare.
Oh, I already did. You do the picture, I do
Picture
video.
you too.
Come on, phone back in the back.
Oh, man, come on.
It's a glare.
That don't look good. We gotta go to the.
Yeah. It's lit.
Yeah, I think you guys need to rotate. Your back should
Yeah.
be toward this window because the light is behind you.
Yeah, that's.
Oh.
Yeah, look, somebody must have said, look.
Yeah, I was thinking it was.
So rotate. Flip it around.
Rotate, flip it.
All right, like y'all been drinking. It is Friday night.
Oh, that's better. Oh, that's, wait. That's not too crazy.
That's a good filter right there. Who got what that filter? Are you okay? Cut somebody off. It's cute.
Okay, let's see y'all. We need our youth up here, look. Our young G's up here in the front, please. We got y'all, come on.
Y'all can go low.
Oh, yeah.
Y'all can go low. Y'all can go low.
That's good.
Look too low, too low, too low. Too low, we can't see you. We need to know.
Ready? 1, 2.
Which one we looking at? I'm gonna do a video real quick.
Off guard to the best.